I'm very excited to share that this season I've partnered with one of my new favourite brands, Current Body. You may have seen Current Body's LED light therapy masks on social media or in the leading fashion magazine's list of game changers for skin, and with good reason. It is 31% more powerful than other LED masks and has been proven to reduce wrinkles by 24% in just 4 weeks, as well as helping even skin tone, reduce redness, and minimise the appearance of pores. I couldn't believe it either, but this is why it works. The masks uses clinically proven wavelengths, red and near infrared. The red light waves accelerate collagen production within the skin, whilst near infrared wavelengths boost blood circulation, leaving the skin glowing, plump and youthful. You only need to pop it on for 10 minutes, at least 3 to 5 times a week. It is 100% safe, pain-free and hands-free, so you can sit back and watch some telly. Or my guilty secret is I use it as an excuse for a little meditation whilst letting my mask do its job. So if you're ready to invest in your skin's future, head to the link in my Instagram bio and use my discount code StyleDNA for 15% off. Your skin will thank you too. Today, I'm going on a style journey with the Irish chef, TV presenter, cookbook author, and food columnist, the wonderful Clodagh McKenna.
Oh.
Hello and welcome,
What
Clodagh.
a lovely introduction. Thank you.
Well, what a list of achievements. I mean, my God, doing my research, I felt almost exhausted by the amount that you have done and that you do. And you've bought me this heavenly carrot cake, which I can smell it from here, and I'm going to really struggle to get through this without getting my chops around a slice, but we'll get to that later. But what are you most excited about at the moment?
I've started doing these cookery classes because I'm a chef. That's my main job. It's what I trained as for years. I've been actually a chef now for 26 years. Wow. It's a long time. And so my big love and passion is teaching people how to cook. So whether I do it through television or in my Instagram videos or Sunday Times column, whatever, they're all little kind of vessels of how to teach people to cook. And so I decided a couple of months ago to do personal cookery classes, and I get a group of 6, there's no more than 6, and we kind of try out a few dates every couple of weeks, and very lucky, they get sold out in about a half an hour, which is always so exciting. And it's so lovely because people come from, we had a lady from Canada who flew in from Canada last week. I couldn't believe it. I felt like I had to do like a Tina Turner in front of her or something. And we always have people coming from Ireland, and it's just such a gorgeous way to get 6 people in front of you in my kitchen. They're all sitting around the island, and I get to teach them how to cook bread and fresh pasta, or depending on the class they take, or cheese soufflés, or tarte tatans, or whatever it is that we're doing on that particular day, what kind of theme it is. At the beginning, I was thinking, am I mad letting people into my house? Now that I can have a little...
I know, because I saw that and I thought, that's quite brave.
Yeah.
But I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, when you were designing your kitchen, did you have this in mind?
No, I had my friends and my family in mind, because whenever, when we're down the farm in Broadspear, I'm always in the kitchen and other people are either in the dining room or outside in the garden, and it's also removed. So what I wanted was that kind of nook or kitchen in London where my friends come in and they sit up and I can be cooking and chatting to them. And so that was the idea. Never in a month of Sundays did I think that I would be having people come in that I didn't know beforehand. But I've been so lucky. My followers on social media that come along are so lovely, and I'm just loving it. I'm really loving it.
Love how personal that is.
Yeah.
I used to love putting events together in the store for exactly that reason.
I bet you did.
People get to know each other, and, then it's sort of, you've got a common interest.
Yeah. Oh, it must have been wonderful hearing all the stories about where people have worn your dresses. And
But I still get that, which
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
I absolutely love. Everyone seems to have their story that they want to share with you, which is just brilliant.
Yeah.
And today we're going on a style journey together. How did you decide what you were going to walk around the corner in?
Do you know what? I actually changed twice because of the weather. So we've been hit by like, I don't know, 22 degrees today or something.
Have we? I've
Yeah.
been
Have you been in here?
absolutely-
It's
In
like
the
22
box.
degrees outside. So I had like a sweater on, went outside. I'm like, oh my God, I'm hot already. Went back in and threw on a t-shirt. And I love waistcoats at the moment. I just love them.
Any particular brand?
I have a gorgeous cream one, which is a Bamford one by my friend Carl Bamford, which I wear a lot. And then this one is from, oh my goodness, what's the name? Reformation. Yes.
Brilliant.
Of course, Reformation.
And
I
any
love waistcoats.
particular t-shirt supplier? Because I think t-shirts are quite a science.
Yeah, they
I'm a bit
are.
obsessed with
Yeah.
white t-shirts.
Yeah, so am I. This isn't a great one, to be honest. I need to. Who do you recommend? Where should I be getting my t-shirts from?
I love a few. I love James Purse,
Okay,
but they don't last forever.
never heard of
And
him.
they are
Is it
eye-wateringly
brilliant?
expensive
Okay.
for what they are, but they are absolutely beautiful Japanese cotton. Rag and Bone do a really good one.
Okay.
Really good one. And then I'm a bit of a try it and see
Do you
girl.
do a line of white t-shirts?
No,
You should do a line of white
I don't do
t-shirts.
any line. Let's not even go there. Now, you grew up in Ireland
Yeah,
and
in
were you
Cork.
in Cork? Were you
Yeah.
very aware of your mother's style at an early age?
Yeah, I was because she spent so much time on it.
Was she mad about fashion?
She was mad about fashion.
And did that rub off on you as a child?
Not really. It was definitely her thing, and I just loved watching her. Maybe now because I do make an effort if I'm going out somewhere. I love that getting dressed up, and I love pairing things up, and I really will make an effort. Or I'll put my lipstick on if Harry's on his way home from work, I'll make sure I put a lip gloss up. And my mother used to always do that. She'd always be running in to put her lipstick on if my dad was on his way home from work.
That's rather lovely.
So lovely. But she loved fashion. Oh my goodness. But I think, back then when I was growing up in Ireland in the 70s and 80s when I was young, women dressed so glamorously, didn't they? Going out for like the local dances,
Yeah, it was a glammy era.
It was a
wasn't
glammy era with the handbags and the shoes and the little jackets and oh, lovely.
And I read that you used to go on French exchanges as a child.
Yeah, I did.
As a teenager, would that have
As a
been?
teenager, can you believe I went over when I was 12 on my own on the boat?
Yeah.
I know. And there probably will be Irish people listening to this reminiscing, going like, yeah, we did the same. So there was a boat that went from Cork over to Le Havre, I think it was.
Yeah.
And Cork was twinned with Rennes as an alliance exchange.
Yeah.
And so all these Cork young kids would go out and do this exchange with French families. And off I went, I think it was like 18 hours on the boat, if I remember.
Oh my God.
Like on my own.
Wow.
And there's all these group of kids and there was no leader or whatever. And all I remember is when I got off and all the crowds and there was like, my name was held up by this adorable French family called the Ronzins, who I love very, very much. And they're still very much in my life. And I fell in love with this family and they fell in love with me. And so much so that I went back and spent a couple of months every year.
Oh, how lovely.
In their house. It was my first year there. And because both my parents worked full time, I remember Madame Ronzin calling my mom, and it was coming to the end of the 2 weeks, saying, we love Clodagh so much. Do you think she could stay here for another few weeks? And my poor mother was probably heartbroken. But anyhow, allowed me to stay on there. I stayed on for like 6 weeks. And I fell madly in love with this family, and they became my second family.
How lovely. And were you speaking fluent French?
So when I first went over, I didn't have a word. and they had no English.
Oh my God.
So it was quite complicated. But the father was a professor at university, so very good at teaching. And the mother was so patient and was kind of slightly, I want to say not besotted with me, but like she loved me very fast. And I loved her very fast. And she was really, really glamorous. Had jet black hair that she used to have always gelled back like this into a little chignon, and the most big, fabulous earrings. And she'd always wear like a white shirt or a white t-shirt, funnily enough, and then big skirts every single day and wonderful shoes. She was so incredibly chic. And she was a stay-at-home mom, used to manage all the home and used to cook and everything. And I had not grown up in a house like that. And it was all super contemporary and everything was white and big art pieces. And I used to spend, I mean, I was supposed to be hanging out with my French exchange, which I did. And we became very close and we still are. But I spent all my time with the mom beside her in the kitchen.
Oh, how lovely. And did her style rub off on you at all?
Definitely.
And did she take you shopping as a teenager?
Yeah.
And did you...
Everything.
And did you come back from France?
Changed.
A little French girl?
I wore white shirts, crisp white shirts, I used to call them.
And did you get the full skirt?
Do you know what I used to wear skirts that were pinned at the waist and then they would go out. But I became obsessed with kind of like little ballet pumps that I have now and still there, and white shirts, and they had to be crisp. I remember being 13, 14 and my mother got into the, you know, all of a sudden it became her language too. You know, here we are in Ireland, never heard of it before, crisp white shirts.
And the beret?
And the beret, no, I didn't, even though I love a beret.
Yeah.
And I used to always wear my hair sleeked back like her. Such... And the food, and that's where my love of food really started, you know, making gratin dauphinoises at 14. And this is a girl who'd grown up in the countryside in Ireland. And
because food was not sort of part of the language of your childhood in Ireland.
No, it wasn't.
How lovely to have that passion ignited so young.
Exactly. I mean, what was part of my childhood was that we would always cook every single night at home. And we used to do baking every Saturday morning. But I think that was for most houses, you know, growing up in Ireland. And it was more a necessity of doing it because we lived in the countryside and not being able to get to a restaurant. It was only when I was like 14 that we moved into Cork City. And so, or Cork Town. It's a city now. I don't want to offend anybody in Cork. It's a city. But back then it was kind of more like a big town when I was growing up. And so there was no restaurants. Like there was no... Like, I think probably the first time I went to a restaurant, it was actually Balmloo House, was my auntie's wedding. And I was like 14, you know, so we just didn't have that, you know, in our home. So we had to cook at home every night. And I think about my mom and how hard she worked, you know.
And so that was really sort of prepping food for the week so that she could go to work.
Yeah, exactly. So we'd come home from school and we'd have lists. There'd be lists of things that we had to do when we got home from school, like peel the potatoes, lay the table. We always sat at a lay table at 6 o'clock at night. Yeah. Always linen, always sat down. And it was all done nicely and talked to each other. And there'd always be a pudding.
And do you still have that tradition in your life?
Yeah. Yeah. It's in, or we have a small little kind of breakfast room and we have our supper there every night. I'm really regimented. Every night, like during the week, if we're there, and on Friday night. And then on Saturday night, I'm like, we're in the dining room. Sunday, then we might be outside somewhere, but I'm adamant about the everyday meals that we sit down and we talk and there's no television on the background. Occasionally, if we're like both exhausted and you're coming home, you want to be in your sloppy joes, and like usually Sunday nights, actually, we'll have a TV supper. But
I mean, you've been a chef now for many years. Yeah. And so in those early years, you were always in a uniform.
Yeah.
Did you ever customize it, or were you quite good about sticking with the uniform?
Like when I first trained, it was quite, you know, strict. So we had to all have our chef whites. It doesn't happen this much anymore, unless you're going to be a chef and you're only going to be in the restaurants. But back when I started, I did the Balmloo cookery course for 3 months, and then I went on and trained as a chef in Balmloo House in the kitchens. And it was quite formal you know, chef whites, you know, certain trousers, the blue and white check trousers, your clogs, apron on, hair all back. You know, it was quite, so I kind of learned that.
As a chef, you must have been working 24/7, silly hours.
I was, yeah.
And so not really having any mufti time in a way.
Yeah, and so engrossed in it.
Yeah.
Like I was so passionate and so in love with food. It was a really exciting time. I feel so blessed to have gotten that time. And the work ethic I learned in there was
the work
amazing.
ethic and the passion. And I think those two things, if, you know, any young person listening, those are the two critical things, I think.
They really, you know, I was speaking just a few weeks ago to Thea Fennell, who I'm sure you know, the jewellery designer, about that. And that's the most important thing when you're going into your profession, is that you learn your trade, you do the grafting and get impassioned by that grafting and learning that work ethic, where you will work 7 days a week, which is sometimes on call, or you might go in the morning at 8 a.m. You mightn't finish it until 1. Sometimes you might finish at 10. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
It really shouldn't matter. You don't get to this stage with looking at your clock and saying, I've got to leave at 5 o'clock. It just doesn't happen.
Absolutely. No, I'm a big fan of what you're saying. And actually, the clock doesn't, as you said, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the passion. It's
Totally.
igniting that passion.
I worked so hard in this kitchen. I was working at Ballymaloe House thinking I would stay there maybe forever. I never any thoughts about moving out of a restaurant. I was in my domain. And a local farmers market started in Middleton, which was like 15 minutes from Ballymaloe. And I went in and saw it and I was like, oh my God, I want to stand here. This is amazing. And it was the first of like 5 farmers markets in Ireland.
Just local produce.
Yeah. But for me, what was amazing was it was so inclusive. You know, growing up in Ireland, it was very much, I'm sure it was the exact same here in the UK, was that good food was always so exclusive. You know, the good food shops, the good restaurants. And going into this farmer's market, seeing all this amazing produce, and it was proper, only local farmers were allowed in this market, or local producers. So if you were making something or growing something, and they were really strict about it. And seeing everybody from every walk of life packed in this market and these local guys playing music, I went in and I was like, oh my God, how can I get a stand here? And so I got a stand there. And so I used to cook up for it on Fridays after I used to finish the energy when you know, I'd finish service, go back and start making fresh pasta. And I'd do an all-nighter and then go straight into the market and then get back for service to be in there for 2 o'clock. And I was on cloud 9. I was just loving setting up my stall with fresh pastas and pestos and pates and my breads, my soda breads. I would just love it. And sometimes the pestos and things like that I'd make, you know, during the week earlier. And my life became revolved around it. And then one day then I decided to leave and to go to the markets full time.
Wow.
So,
brave move.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, this is my passion. I want to work on farmers markets. There were only 5 in Ireland. And I wanted to work on developing them and opening up more and having more stands in them. And so I did that for 3 years. I worked on the farmers markets.
And what were you wearing?
Tweed jackets, white t-shirts probably, I'm sure white shirts, denims. Yeah. When I was doing it, I got offered my first TV show. Somebody had been talking about it and Rick Stein had done a piece on me, and I was running Slow Food Ireland and I was running events and things like that. I was doing them for free, basically. Like, I took over Kenmare, this town in Ireland, one weekend, and I did a slow food weekend where you'd come and, you know, learn about food and do workshops, and we had dinners, I had all the restaurants involved. And all of a sudden I started getting a name, nothing to do with TV or anything, but just of the work that I was doing with farmers and for food in Ireland behind the scenes. And then I got offered my own TV series to basically go around Ireland and to go to visit the cheesemakers and people who were doing kind of really unusual things.
Were you very aware of what you were wearing for television? Because you probably didn't have access to a stylist
No.
then? So it was all about the food.
It was all about the food. And I didn't have access to a stylist or anything like that. And then I think where my style really changed was because I felt this immense pressure of all of a sudden having this show in Ireland. And it became very big, very fast. And within, because Ireland is small and that's possible, I became a household name in Ireland very fast. And I was only like 29. So I decided to move to Italy. So I moved to
As
Italy.
you do.
As you do.
Just to escape from the fame and
I
fortune.
know, exactly. I just wanted to learn more about food. I knew everything there was to know about Irish food, and I'd been trained in Balmaloo, which is a lot of kind of French style cooking. I really wanted to immerse myself in a food culture and just learn and learn. So I moved to Italy, and I was there for 3 years. And that's really when I was getting excited about clothes then when I was there.
Where were you in Italy?
In Turin, in the north.
Yes, and so there's so much clothing manufacturing around there,
Yeah.
and it is really...
And it's a really old school part of Italy.
Yeah.
You know, people haven't been to Turin before. It was built to be the capital of
Yes.
Italy. So you've got all the old families. So people, the men dress in tweeds during the winter, 3-piece, and everything is quite formal and beautiful and pared back, that beautiful classic Italian style. And I loved it.
You're so passionate about ingredients and
Yeah.
the sort of nourishing of you. Do clothes nourish you in any way?
They give me confidence, especially on this morning.
So how do you go
that.
about putting together your this morning's looks?
So I do put a bit of time into that because it's such a big viewership, and people who watch the show, they like to buy the garments as well.
Well, I've noticed that you're now starting to say T-shirt buy,
Yeah.
dress buy.
Yeah. It is because we get so inundated with DMs, people getting in contact and email or direct messages asking about where the clothes from. I mean, usually, sometimes the clothing will sell out because you're on the show. This morning is amazing, has an amazing loyal audience. For example, if you go on at your book, there's no other show that will sell more copies of your book in Britain. I mean, it's just amazing. So when I'm picking it out, I pick things they have to be comfortable. I like things fitted at the waist.
Yep.
Everything I have is fitted at the waist. And I like things that are loose up here. I don't like big, bright colours. Like, I just don't. Like, I wish I loved big, bright reds and all the rest, and greens, and it's just not for me.
Do you think
just
that's
don't like it.
being a blonde?
Maybe it's being a blonde. Yeah. Yeah. I like clothes to be a little bit more softer.
But they don't dress you. You dress. You do
No,
it all.
I do it all. I do it all. So
That's
I
a
will
huge
scour
job,
and have a look, and then also the people who I might all of a sudden see a brand that I really love and I want to wear it, like these little jewellery pieces by Betty and Biddy. They're so sweet. There's 2 Irish girls. And so it's really lovely that you can wear something like that and then they email you afterwards going, thank you for wearing our necklace. We got, blah, blah, blah. Or, it's really lovely you can work it that way. So I try to mix it with brands when I'm wearing the clothes. I try to do a shuffle of things that are inexpensive and things that are, we'll say, really good value for money, but would be maybe a bigger spend for somebody, more of a commitment from somebody. So I try to mix that things. I mean, last week was really funny. I was on the show and I was wearing this Bardot top, which I was so in love with. It was like a baby blue and it was all layer. It was gorgeous, really fitted. And I had like the perfect denims. I mean, I love denims so much. Like
good
your
jean.
high-waisted
A good
jeans.
jean is...
Love good jeans.
Yeah.
And it was a Bardot top and I was so happy. And
There's a but.
then literally 3 minutes before we go live, there was like, Clodagh, you've got to change your top really quickly. And I was like, what? They're like, you've got to change your top. And when you're doing live TV, you don't want anything unsettling happening.
No.
And so I was flung out the side. There was a wardrobe there.
Flung out the side.
Threw on something else on me. And I had to go back in. I was tucking in my thing in. All of a sudden, yeah, so I've got a chicken that I'm going to cook 3 ways today to last you throughout the weekend. And my nipples were showing in the top. And they were they were trying to be polite and it's all men up there. So nobody was going to say, oh, sorry, Clodagh, your nipples are showing. We can't actually film you this way. So those things kind of happen. But it's really lovely to have fun with it. You know, it's so nice to have fun with the fashion on it.
But do you get swamped with clothing sent and accessories sent
I
to
do,
you?
yeah.
How do you deal with that?
When brands get in touch that I know I won't wear it, I really politely explain that it's just not my style.
Now, you tied the knot in 2021.
Yes.
For the first time.
For the first time.
How did you choose your wedding dress?
Do you know what? Very annoyingly to all my friends and family who are all so excited about making a big day, I went off on my own and I got it within 2 hours. And
Sorry, Mum.
I know. Sorry, everybody. Everybody was so annoyed because I knew that the pressure was mounting, and it was like 5 weeks before the wedding, and I still hadn't done it.
5 weeks before, and you hadn't got a dress.
No.
Clodagh.
Because I was so focused on the wedding, because I organised it myself, and I was so focused on like the menu and the food and the flowers and growing for it, and I was growing flowers in the cutting garden for it, and all the rest.
Nothing ticking in the back of your brain going, I need to
I
sort
knew
my
I'd
dress
find
out.
one. I knew I'd find one. And I kind of wanted to just be on my own. So I went down to Sussex, and I went to Alice Temperley, and I went in
Somerset.
Went down to Somerset, went to Alice Temperley studio there, and it was the third dress I tried on. And I was like, oh, that's it. And they were all like, oh, no, we've got 20 for you to try on. And I was like, no, this is it. This is it.
Oh, I love a decisive girl.
I'm very decisive. Yeah, I am very decisive.
And when do you feel you really found your personal style?
When I came to London, yeah, I think that actually was really it. When I came to London, I'd broken. So I sold the restaurants in Dublin, or kind of sold my name from the restaurants in Dublin. And I had broke up from my last relationship, and I moved to London. And I'd rented a house it was just like a coach house, beautiful old coach house. And when I moved there, it was like, the house was like a healing house for me, because it was like, I was living on my own for the first time.
Yeah.
It was like, I would kind of left the restaurants, which was kind of a little bit heartbreaking for me, but good for me. Like, I did it out of choice. Left a relationship, and then was in a country where I knew, well, professionally, nobody knew me really. And I'd left like such a big career in Ireland where everybody knew me. And I just wanted some time on my own. I just wanted time on my own.
In your chrysalis.
Yeah, in my little bubble. And I had some friends here, which was really lovely, like Richard E. Grant and his late wife Joan, and people who were really, really, really good to me. And it just, kind of just really held on to me. Cocooned me. Yeah. And so I had really gorgeous fun time, like at the beginning, just having supper parties, and all of a sudden, and then it was like, okay, for like 2 months, and I was like, okay, now I need to start grafting really from the beginning. And it was quite exciting doing that. And I felt so free, because I had nobody in my life to tell me how I should be, no TV to do, like not trying to be what people wanted me to be, which I thought was kind of having it like a little wholesome image and all the rest. And I'd never really thought about my image, and I just wanted to be free. And I just felt, I had 2 years of that. I had 2 years of just being free for myself as a woman in her 40s. It was amazing to do that. I opened up my house and had suppers in my house because I needed to pay the rent. And I was like, I'm broke. What am I going to do? So I literally opened up my house 3 days a week, and I had people booked in for supper.
Amazing.
I know. Was I mad? Anyhow, but I did it for a few months. It got me over. And then I slowly I was the columnist for the Evening Standard. And then and then the Today Show in America had been in touch, and they wanted me to come to America to cook on the show. And then they offered me residency. So I was back and forth to New York and up to Canada to do another show every 2 weeks. And so that, my career in America really started going well. And then we were chatting, would I move there? And then I met Harry, and it was like, oh. And then I got offered, Martin Frizzle, who's my boss on This Morning, he got in contact and he offered me a contract for This Morning, all at the same kind of time. And I was like, okay, I've never thought about concentrating in the UK and just really settling, because I was such a traveler. I mean, in my heart, I'm a traveler. So I can get on the train this morning. It's like, okay, I'm back to myself again,
Back to my
traveling
roots.
somewhere. I've lived like in lots of different places. I just love being on the move. And so I decided then just to kind of maybe that I would start settling here. I never thought I would. I thought I'd be here for a year or two and then go back to Ireland or go to America or somewhere. And then I settled here, and that was, I think I'm in my 5th year of this morning now.
And during that process, is that when you really feel that you found your style?
100%. When I was on my own, not dressing for a man, not dressing for TV, just dressing for myself, just like, yeah.
And if I were to ask you if Harry, for example, your husband, was to sum up your style DNA in 3 words, what would you want those 3 words to be?
70s. I love the 70s. I don't know. I guess like I do love the 70s era. I love that, like high-waisted jeans and blouses and shirts with it, and yeah, like I love what you're wearing today. It's so beautiful.
Thank you. Have you ever had any disastrous sort of culinary spillages on your clothes?
So one day, it was back in the day when Holly and Phil were on the show. We used to have so much fun. Oh my God. And it was going to commercial break. And Holly was like, it was Friday. And I think, no, it was a Thursday. Yeah, because I never did Fridays. It was on a Thursday. And she was like, I really feel like a cocktail. I was like, what's your favorite cocktail again? She's like, a white lady. And I was like, I've never had a white lady. This was just on commercial break. And I was like, I'll get the ingredients, let's make one on the show and then we can have one. So I literally ran back into the kitchen. There were runners being sent out everywhere, pandemonium, because, it's Holly's cocktail and Holly's God. She really is. And anyhow, all the ingredients came back in, and it was we were all kind of giddy, and all of a sudden, all the ingredients are in, blah, blah, blah. Cocktail shaker is here, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, we got it, we're going to have cocktails. It was great. So
10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. So I did my cook, and then I was like, and we've got Holly's favourite cocktail. It's a white lady. So I'm putting in, this is how you make it. Tish, tish, tish. And then I go to shake the cocktail.
Oh, no.
I'm like, and I forgot to put the lid on the cocktail, and I was soaked, and I just went everywhere.
And
I was
live
like,
on air.
yeah, and I cursed as well. I was like, oh shit, oh fuck, oh scoop, oh fuck. And it was all these like bleep bleep, and then Phil was like, no, you've just cursed again, no. And then he had to get the camera. He was like, could really deeply apologizes for all of the curse, because he knew that it was going to go mad. It was all over every newspaper in the UK, which is, I mean,
And you
kind
hadn't
of
even had a
ridiculous.
sip of the white lady.
Hadn't even had a sip. Oh my God, it was so funny. It was so funny.
Do you feel you've had a worst fashion moment?
I think it was the launch of it wasn't even, it was the hair and everything. It was the launch of my restaurant in Blackrock in Dublin. And I was doing a shoot for the Times for it, something like that. And I think I really didn't even know who I was. They say that, I always remember somebody said to me, Jana Ferguson, really amazing woman. I've got so many amazing women in my life. I'm so blessed. Another one of them is Jana Ferguson. She's a cheesemaker and amazing woman who lives in West Cork. In this incredible farmhouse, and everything happens around the farm table. Sometimes you'd be sitting there, and Mario Testino would have been there, sitting there, who would have photographed her. She's just incredible. Anthony Bourdain stayed there for a week, and I was with him there, and all his crew, and everything happened around this. And they had Guinness in the corner on tap. They have Guinness in the corner on tap. And I always remember her saying to me when I was going through like a phase when I was like 20 something, and I just didn't know what I was doing. I was working so hard at the farmers markets and in a real cross point. And she's like, there's no point in trying to get to understand who you are right now. Just allow it all to happen. Because really, I only got to know who I was probably a couple of years ago, and at the time she was 50. And she goes, that'll all happen. At the moment, just flow through it all. Just ski through it all.
What phenomenal advice.
Yeah.
It really, really is, because the more I have these conversations, the more I realise that so many women don't really find themselves
Yeah.
until late 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
And then it's like a light bulb moment of,
It really is.
God, this just feels good.
Yeah, it does. And it's like, that was my moment. You know, I had my 2 years on my own.
Yeah.
That was my moment when I had like the lowest points of my life during that time and the highest points of my life, all on my own. So both high and low
Sorry,
on
Harry.
my own. Yeah, sorry. But it led me to being at a place where I was able to be loved properly.
Yeah.
So to answer your question about the worst dressed, and I looked back at this shoot and it was a pink feather skirt that went way out, like way out.
And you were dressed by a stylist.
Yes. And a pink cashmere sweater kind of on top, kind of fitted, and pearls. And my hair was all straightened in a bob. And I had pearled set earrings to match the pearls, this cashmere and the thing out. And I looked like something from like the 50s housewife and sitting in the middle of the restaurant. And I look back at that and I go, "Sure, God love us. I just didn't know who I was."
But did you feel good in it at the time?
No.
No.
No, I didn't. I remember thinking and not wanting to do, you know, being inside trying to smile and all the rest. I just didn't know who I was.
Because it's one thing to not feel comfortable, but it's another thing to say, I don't like this, but this is who I am.
Yeah, totally. I mean, now I would wear, and this is quite truthful. Now I'd wear, you know, a dirty t-shirt and a pair of jeans and I feel beautiful. And I don't mean that in a vanity way, but I've really learned to love myself. Like I'm happy with who I am. I spend a lot of time giving to myself as well because I give a lot. I'm definitely a feeder and a nourisher, and my friends are my family.
You nourish yourself too, don't you?
I nourish myself
by doing what you do.
Yeah, I do nourish myself,
and just being conscious of that fact that you nourish yourself. What clothes nourish you?
I have a gorgeous, my pajamas. Do you know Debonair?
Yes.
Yeah, she's
brilliant.
She's so fabulous. I love her. And her pajamas are amazing. I have these pink pajamas with a red lining on them and the cotton is amazing. And I have them oversized and I put them on like, I don't know, at 6 o'clock. I heavenly.
I always think you're very aware of the texture of food.
Yeah.
Are you very aware of the texture of clothes?
Yes. I find it really hard to wear clothes that aren't breathable, you know, like synthetic fibers or I quite like breathable fibers. I get hot very fast if I think about it, you know, or if something is a crazy design, I have to take it off because it's too much for me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's interesting. So only when you're talking about it, you think, God, I sound crazy.
Clothing therapy.
Clothing therapy.
Would you say you've got a style icon?
Yeah, I mean, I do love all of the pin-ups of the 70s, British and French.
Yeah.
They would all be all of those actresses in that era, you know, that were all hanging out in Saint-Tropez. And
is age a consideration as to how you dress?
I used to love, I mean, my legs are okay. So I used to love wearing like a mini, you know, like with a big jumper, and I'd wear a mini or whatever. And I don't feel like I do that anymore. Or I don't like wearing low-cut tops anymore.
So what's sexy to you now?
Tailoring. I love tailoring. I love clothes that are beautifully tailored.
And who, for you, cuts the best suit?
It depends what kind of suit, I guess. The last great suit that I put on was by Deck.
Yes.
The Deck, which was amazing. I wore it to Cheltenham. That was so brilliant.
I saw that. I think we mentioned you in our Friday night fashion slot.
Oh, did you? Oh my God, thank you.
How cool you looked.
Oh, thank you. So I think that would be my favourite suit at the moment.
Do you have one item of clothing that means the most to you?
I have this burgundy brown leather jacket. It's like a pilot, you know, those, what do you call them? Aerator, right? Those aviator ones. But it's not, so no, that's a wrong, scrap that. It's not an aviator one. It's more like a 70s one because it's lighter. It's much lighter. And it's actually got a tailoring in here.
Waisted.
At waisted. And then it is like sheepskin on the inside, and it comes over and it's a beautiful, kind of like, not too like your beautiful nail color, kind of like that color, a little bit more reddy in tone. And I got it when I was in New York, when I was on the Today Show, and I bought it in a vintage store down in Soho.
Are you very organised in your wardrobe?
I'm okay. I wouldn't say I'm as organised as you are. I bet you are really organised in your wardrobe. But it's just because I like how your shirt is so beautifully pressed. And look, and I'm all wrinkly.
Are you very aware of what your airport look is going to be, what your travel look is going to be?
I love getting dressed for the airport.
And
I love airports.
What's your favourite airport look?
My favourite airport look would be high-waisted denim jeans, maybe a Brett on top to go with it, and a little jacket, and some nice white sneakers, and then the bag. I really like a lovely wicker bag when I'm traveling, so I can put in my, like, I really love a big cashmere scarf that I can wrap around myself when I'm on the plane.
Yeah.
And I have a whole routine when I'm on a flight as well of like the beauty and smells. Like, I like really fresh wisteria smells. I spray more on my seat with the smell, and God help the person who's sitting beside me. And then I have my food things,
So
for
you
the
have
flight.
your complete flight ritual.
And my complete flight ritual.
Do you take food with you on your flight?
Yes.
Interesting. And
Yes.
and is that all prepared by you, or?
Well, it depends where I'm flying from. So if I'm flying from T5, do you know Fortnum's do these hamperlings?
Yes.
Have you ever gotten one?
No.
Oh my God, they're the best upgrade you can give your life. So they start from £20 and they go right up to £100. I get the in-between one, which is £35, and it's the most beautiful, branded Fortnum's little freezer bag. And you open it up and it's got a little plate of delicious smoked salmon, a green salad, dressing, a lemon posset, brown rye bread, little salt and peppers. So I always get that when I'm traveling from T5. I'll always try and travel from T5. And then if it's a long journey, then I might go up to Pret then and I'll get like the tuna niçoise salad. I'll have that for later on. But I try and eat oily fish and lots of greens.
Yeah.
I don't like eating airplane food at all. Like, I never will really.
Yeah.
I love doing the bag when I'm on the other side. So when we're coming back, like for example, when we came back from Rome just a couple of weeks ago, and even though it was only like a 2-hour flight, I have to eat on a plane. I don't know what it is. You get hungry, don't you? There.
Yes, I try not to, but forget it.
Okay.
That never works.
So I got focaccia on board and beautiful Parma ham. And we had focaccia bread and Parma ham, which was really, really nice.
That sounds
And a glass of white
heavenly.
wine at 12 o'clock on a flight. Oh, well.
What brand of luggage do you use?
I have an amazing set of luggage from Tustings, and it is their beautiful cream canvas with brown leather, and I have my little Clo on it.
Are you a good packer or a bad packer?
I'm a really good packer.
And if you're going for longer than overnight, how many bags do you take?
Probably one big one and then another one for kind of accessories and shoes and stuff.
In your wardrobe, what, if anything, do you feel you've got an excessive amount of?
I must have over 100 white shirts at this point. And denims, high-waisted denims.
And denim brands?
Lots. Frame.
Yeah.
Frame, they do great denim.
Guilty secret? What's the most expensive item of clothing or accessory that you've bought? I'm not asking for the price tag.
A vintage Chanel, big red Chanel padded bag. Yeah, it's gorgeous. That's a bit guilty.
Let's talk about, no, but that's quite sustainable. That's vintage. That's, I can applaud you for that one.
I bought it when I had the restaurants and I was working so hard. I had no life and I was...
That was a treat to self.
It was a treat to self.
Now, for someone who's quoted as saying, I'm not the kind of person who has expensive handbags or designer labels.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. I mean, and I bought that back when I didn't really know myself. And I'm not, like, I would, like, it doesn't fill my mind, you know, and a lot of people are like working for something. I think what gets me more excited, and this is genuine in my heart and my sleeve, and this is very boring probably, but I get more excited about saving up to get like new trees. That
Yeah.
gets me so excited. So for every birthday, I only want trees. So Harry always buys me trees for my birthday. Like mature pear ones, which are fantastic. So you have, it's hard to get them. They're expensive, the mature pear or quince or whatever. And I've got a whole area where I keep plotting more and more and more. And I get, honestly, it gives me like endless joy seeing them. And so all my money that I spend goes on planting plants.
What are you wearing in the garden?
What was I wearing this weekend? I was wearing black skinnies because you can move. I've got ones that are like half cotton, half denim, so I can move like freely in them. And then I like wearing like linen shirts. So I had like a blue and white pinstriped linen shirt that's really breathable. And in our farm in Broadspear, we have like this whole woodlands, like on our property, the most beautiful woods, and I love trees. And then only recently, I learned through a friend about fungi and all the world of fungi underneath the surface that connects all the root trees together, and I became obsessed with it. It was actually Bob Geldof who was down staying, and we were out in the woods, and he was teaching me all about the fungi and all the rest, and I became like obsessed with it. So I started doing it, and he was like, you've got to get into getting your hands in there and feeling it and etc. So I started doing forest bathing, which is, they do it in Japan, and it's an organized thing in Japan. But if you live in the countryside, it doesn't have to be organized. All you have to do is go out to a woods and just dig yourself in. You lie into the ground, like dig yourself in, push away the leaves so you're really feeling it, and dig your hands into the soil so you're feeling the clench of soil. Don't worry about creepy crawlies. And you do a breathing technique. I do meditation every day, sometimes twice a day, and I've been doing that for a long time. So I can get into a zone quite fast. If you can't get into a zone quite fast, or you haven't taught yourself and you're not doing it ritually every day, just to have a guided meditation beside you and just feel it. It's amazing, the energy that you feel, and knowing that you're being cared for by all of this fungi and the trees. Like, they are there caring for us, and without them we do not exist.
On that sort of lovely note of nature and the planet, what's your approach to sustainable fashion?
I mean, my approach to it is that I try and not, even though I do get sent a lot, I try and not get sent as much. Or if I'm buying, I only buy what I really, really need. I rewear as much as I can. And then when I'm not wearing it, or I'm not wearing it anymore, I go through my clothes and I give it to the girls who are working for me or family, or into a charity store. Like, I do mind about like the clothes, the amount of clothes. Like, I do think about, where is that coming from? Who is making that, Conscious
Consumption. Let's spin on to some quickfire questions.
Okay.
What fashion advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Have fun.
Which fashion trend would you like to see make a comeback?
70s.
Funny that. Which fashion or beauty trend would you consign to room 101?
90s.
Your last impulse buy?
As in shoulder pads. Was that 90s?
No, that was 80s.
It was 80s. Okay, shoulder pads. Out.
80s.
80s.
Your views on tattoos?
I really don't like them. Unless they're tiny and they're written. I don't mind the ones on the wrist. No, I'm not a tattoo person.
Beauty treatment you couldn't give up?
Oh, got a pedicure. For sure. I love pedicures. I could have one every other day.
They are heaven, aren't
I
they?
love a pedicure.
High end or high street?
Both.
Bling or bare?
Bare.
Minimalism or maximalism?
Minimalism.
Crocs, cute or puke?
Puke.
As a chef?
I know, sorry. I wore them for years.
Skinnies, boyfriends or wide legs?
Wide legs.
Bodycon or boho?
Bodycon or boho? Boho.
Sports luxe or rock chick?
Rock chick.
Red carpet or relax?
Relax.
Trend or style?
Style.
Colour or monochrome?
Monochrome.
Experimental or uniform?
Oh, I want to be experimental, but somehow I feel like I'm uniform.
Hoarder or editor?
Editor.
Shapewear or sexy lingerie?
Oh, sexy lingerie.
Tights or stockings?
Stockings.
Bikini or one piece?
Oh, depends on how I'm feeling.
Beanie or beret?
A beanie or beret? Oh, beret.
And finally, at the end of the day, what do you or don't you wear in bed?
I wear my debonair pajamas. I love pajamas.
Clodagh, what a joy to spend this time with you. Thank you. You've been an incredible guest. And let's tuck into your just delicious... Yeah, let's have cake.
God,
Look
I
at
feel
that.
like I've learned something about myself.
Oh, that is just heaven.
I'm now going to
Even
get
the
a
icing.
beret.
Are you?
Yeah.
Good.